Hi, I'm Lara from 5 out of 4 Patterns, and welcome to part 5 of the Zen Pants Sew Along, sponsored by Sly Fox Fabrics. We are going to get done today. We are finishing our waistband, and that is all we have left to do. So it's exciting. Let's get it done. What I'm doing today is the traditional waistband. All right, so let's open up our pants here. We've got our pants here. We've got our front waistbands, or our back waistbands, and our back yoke. We also have our 1/2 inch elastic. We are ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do is place the front band on top of the back yoke with right sides together. So let's find our right sides here. All right, so now I am going to stitch these together using a serger or a stretch stitch. Something I want to show you is right here. Notice the back yoke is longer than the front waistband. It's important that you don't, when you're stitching this together, you don't try to stretch that front waistband to be as long. It's supposed to be shorter than the yoke. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring my waistband over the waistband that's already attached to the pants, and I'm going to connect them here with some pins. There's no need to stretch to make it fit because they're the exact same. Exactly the same as what's already there. Just you want to line them up and give them a good pin. Okay, put a few extra pins or clips in if you feel like you need to. Sometimes fabric likes to roll and it can be frustrating. So the more pins that you put in to make you feel secure, the better. That's totally fine. All right, so let's talk about the elastic. If you're making the low rise, you're going to need to measure your low waist about 3 inches below your navel. If you're making the mid rise, about 1.5 inches below your navel. And if you're making the high rise, you're going to measure at your navel. Okay, so you're going to subtract 2 to 6 inches. You need to figure this out on your own, whatever's comfortable for you. The table in the tutorial is just a guide that you can use. It isn't necessarily perfect for every body, so make sure you're measuring yourself and you know what it is that you need based on your own personal measurements. All right, I've pinned my waistband, I have my elastic. Now I'm going to bring my elastic, making sure it's not twisted at all. I'm going to bring it around and I'm going to overlap it about 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch it back and forth just to connect these, and I'm going to back stitch and front stitch and back stitch multiple times to keep it secure. We've got our elastic all sewn, and we have quartered it. We're also going to do the same thing with our waistband. So we just need to double check that we are that our markings are centered. Remembering that the side seams aren't always the center point. It's over just a little bit on this, so it's really important to make sure you're doing this part because you want it to all kind of match up perfectly. All right, so we've done that. Now it's time to put our elastic inside the waistband, so not on the outside, on the inside. So we'll start with the back. Then we'll move to the front. And then we'll pull it open and we'll do the side seams, being very careful not to twist the elastic. Okay, we'll go to the other side. There we go. Okie dokie. All right, so here we've got our waistband all ready. And I'm just adding a few more pins for my own security here. We're going to go to the serger. You can also use a stretch stitch, and we are going to stitch all these 3 layers together. So you've got the elastic, you've got the inner waistband, and you've got the outer waistband. Now if you're using a serger, you can turn the blade off so that you're not cutting any of the elastic, or you can use a zigzag stitch or a stretch stitch. Okay, so here we are. We have stitched our elastic to our waistbands here. And now we are going to fold the waistband and the elastic to the inside of the pants. So we're going to fold it to the inside. And what you see is that everything is kind of hidden. Okay, I'm actually going to turn my pants wrong side out so it makes it a little bit easier for you to see. At least I hope anyway. Okay, so here's what we've got here. All right, so we're going to fold the elastic and the waistband to the inside. Okay, so when you look at the outside, it's perfect. The seam should now be on the inside, which it is. If you can see, the seam is now on the inside. It's not exposed, or it's not on the top. It's totally to the inside and hidden. So it has this, kind of perfect look on the right side. All right, so what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna put wash away wonder tape all the way around the inner part of this waistband that we just put on. So make sure that your seam allowance that connects your pants to your yoke and your front waistband, it's pressed up towards the top of the pants, towards the yoke itself. All right, so now we're going to fold that waistband, or let's take the paper off of our wonder tape. And now we're going to fold it down. So we're going to fold it and make sure that this seam allowance is pushed up. And we're just going to let the wash away wonder tape smoothly stick and hold everything in place. Okay, so there's the back. Let's move around to the front. You want it to be as smooth as you can get it. Okay. Press your wonder tape down. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew 2 lines. Now we are top stitching across the entire perimeter of this waistband, but we're doing it in 2 sections. So it's not a continuous seam, or a front top stitch and a back top stitch. I hope that makes sense. So we're going to top stitch each of them in place with a cover stitch, twin needle, or zigzag. We're going to do it with the front waistband, and then I'm going to do it with the back yoke. And I have used my wash away wonder tape, so it should hold it all in place. So when you top stitch, you're not going to top stitch here on this line. You're going to top stitch on the waistband itself. So what you've done is you've made sure that your seam allowance has been pressed and pushed up toward the yoke and toward the top of the pants, toward the waistband, and so you will be top stitching on the waistband itself. So not on your main fabric, but on this waistband. we've done it. We have almost finished our waistband. The next thing we're going to do is, you can see we've got some excess fabric here, and we're going to, I'm going to pull the Wonder Tape up a bit, and I'm going to trim all of this excess fabric here. Now that we've trimmed everything, we're ready to move on to the last step. And that last step is to top stitch along the top here. So we could see that this elastic kind of sometimes wants to fold and do what it wants and kind of push out. We're going to try to prevent that by doing some top stitching. We're going to top stitch using a stretch stitch or a chain stitch across the top of all the way around the top of the waistband at the edge of the elastic. So you'll have to feel it as you go, and I can feel the edge of elastic is right here, so I'm going to try to stitch right along that elastic. One of the things you can also do, if you don't want to just feel it as you're sewing, is you can feel for it and then mark just below that elastic, and you can mark all the way around. Alright, so now that I've got it marked all the way around, I'm going to top stitch using a chain stitch or a stretch stitch, all the way around the top of this elastic. Okay, here we are. We are top stitched. Now, if you're doing a drawstring or maternity, you're going to continue on and you're going to follow the instructions for that. You will have already done the buttonholes and things like that. So voila, we are finished with our Zen pants, and I'm going to go try these on, and I'm trying to decide what shirt I want to make to go with it. I think I'm going to go with the Camilla cowl. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed making your Zen pants. I know that I enjoyed making mine. It's a super fun pair of pants to make. It also teaches you some really great concepts about fit and construction that are just invaluable to any sewist. So I hope that you will join us next month, where we will have yet another sew along. Thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe below so that we can keep in touch with you and that you can find out whenever we are or we have uploaded or produced a new video. We want to share with you, and we want to build a community with you. So subscribe below, and I will see you next time for another sew along. Bye.